Horrified, the alien princes fought humanity's scouts, and lost it all. The soft hum of the scout ship's engines cut through the silence of space, a gentle reminder that the humans had finally arrived. Captain Ryan Holt watched the stars shift outside the viewport, his hands resting lightly on the console. The planet below was unlike any they had explored before. Lush forests stretched farther than the eye could see, glimmering lakes reflected the sun like polished mirrors, and the sky, tinged with a soft violet hue, made the whole world feel almost dreamlike. The mission had been clear: observe, report, and make contact if possible. Humanity had learned much in the last decades, and now they were stepping beyond their solar system to explore what lay among the stars. Ryan adjusted the ship's trajectory, descending toward a valley where strange structures rose above the treetops. They weren't natural formations. They were built by someone or something with incredible precision. The buildings shimmered faintly, as if made of a material that absorbed light and then reflected it slowly, creating an almost ethereal glow. The team had been briefed on the planet's rulers, the alien princes who governed this world, but until now, all that had been known were rumors from distant explorers. Stories of their pride, their power, and their unmatched skills in defending their lands. Ryan felt a mix of excitement and caution. As the scout ship approached the surface, the team could see movement below. Figures with tall, lithe forms moved gracefully between the structures. Their skin shimmered with a faint golden hue, and they wore garments that reflected the light in shifting patterns. The humans had trained for encounters with alien species before, but nothing prepared them for the elegance and composure of these beings. "Scouts," Ryan whispered almost to himself, "you are in for something beyond imagination." The ship touched down on a soft, mossy surface near the edge of the forest. The landing was smooth, silent, and almost invisible against the natural surroundings. Ryan led the team out, their boots sinking slightly into the soft earth. Around them, the air was thick with scents they had never smelled before, sweet, earthy, and tangy all at once. Small creatures scuttled through the undergrowth, darting between the team's legs, curious but not afraid. It was clear that life here thrived in a way that was both beautiful and alien. Suddenly, a sound reached their ears, a harmonic tone that seemed to vibrate through the ground itself. The humans paused. From the shadows between the trees emerged a group of figures, taller than the rest, moving with a confident precision that immediately drew attention. These were not common citizens. These were the princes themselves, the rulers, the guardians of this world. Their eyes, sharp and intelligent, studied the humans with a mixture of curiosity and caution. One of the princes stepped forward. His presence was commanding, yet not hostile. He held no weapons, but the humans could feel a strength in his stance, a force of will that seemed to make the forest itself stand a little straighter. Ryan held up his hand in a peaceful gesture. "We mean no harm," he said, keeping his voice calm and steady. "We are explorers from a distant planet. We come to learn, to observe, and perhaps to understand your world." For a long moment, the prince did not respond. He tilted his head, eyes narrowing slightly as if weighing the truth of Ryan's words. Around him, the other princes moved in subtle formations, communicating silently with gestures and glances. The humans realized this was more than a simple hierarchy. It was a network of understanding, a system of intelligence and coordination that they had never encountered. Finally, the prince spoke. His voice was melodic, almost like music, yet carrying an authority that made the humans feel both respected and carefully measured. "Your kind is strange," he said, though it was not entirely a question. "You come with words but no understanding. You enter our world uninvited, yet your presence does not bring destruction." Ryan nodded. "We are here to learn, not to conquer. We hope to share knowledge, to understand your culture, your science, and your lives." The prince's gaze lingered on each of the humans, as if searching for a hidden truth. Then he turned slightly, signaling with a subtle motion. The others moved back, creating a space that was neither confrontational nor welcoming, but tense with anticipation. The humans understood. They were being tested. As the day passed, the humans explored cautiously, guided indirectly by the prince's silent observations. They walked among the alien buildings, marveling at the intricate designs that seemed to combine art and technology seamlessly. Some of the structures floated slightly above the ground, suspended by forces the humans could only guess at. Gardens grew in precise patterns, with plants that shimmered in colors unseen on Earth. Ryan made careful notes, aware that every step, every glance was being watched. Yet the princes did not interfere. They seemed almost fascinated, their expressions alternating between suspicion and intrigue. One of the younger princes, a female with a curious smile, approached a human engineer named Leela. She reached out, not touching but hovering her hand near a device Leela carried. The human demonstrated a simple function, and the alien's eyes widened in understanding. A connection, small but meaningful, had been made. Not all interactions were so smooth. As the humans ventured further into the forest, one of their drones, designed to record environmental data, accidentally disturbed a local creature. The reaction was immediate. The creature's cries echoed through the trees, and the humans could see a flurry of movement from the shadows. The princes arrived quickly, not with aggression, but with authority. They calmed the situation with gestures and soft sounds that the humans could barely comprehend. Ryan realized that the prince's power was not in weapons or brute strength. It was in control, in understanding, and in harmony with everything around them. By evening, the humans had returned to their ship. They shared their findings with each other, marveling at the beauty and complexity of the planet. Ryan looked out at the alien city in the fading light, the buildings glowing softly against the twilight sky. He knew that this was just the beginning. The princes had observed them, tested them, and perhaps even been impressed, but it was clear that their pride would not allow them to accept humanity's presence without challenge. As night fell, the humans watched from the ship as the princes gathered in a grand courtyard. Their movements were precise, deliberate, and filled with purpose. It was a display of power, but one that did not seek to destroy. It was a statement, a warning that while they might not harm, they would not yield easily. Ryan could feel the weight of the moment. The first encounter had been peaceful, but it had also set the stage for something far greater. Inside the ship, the humans prepared for sleep, but sleep did not come easily. Each of them knew that the next day would bring new challenges. The alien princes were proud, intelligent, and capable of strategy far beyond what humans had anticipated. Yet, for all their grandeur and power, there was a faint hint of uncertainty in their movements. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but Ryan noticed it. Perhaps they too were learning, observing humanity with curiosity, and perhaps, just perhaps, with the first stirrings of doubt about their own supremacy. When Ryan finally allowed himself to close his eyes, he thought about the stories humanity had heard before reaching this world. Tales of unbeatable rulers, of civilizations that could crush intruders in an instant. And yet here they were, not crushed, not destroyed, but alive, unbowed, and quietly making a place for themselves. A smile crossed his face. The journey ahead would not be easy, but for the first time he felt a surge of hope. Humanity's strength had never been in sheer force, but in adaptability, intelligence, and courage. Here, on this alien world, those qualities would be tested, and he believed they would shine brighter than ever. Outside, the alien princes remained in the courtyard, their eyes directed toward the scout ship. The soft glow of the buildings reflected in their gaze, mingled with pride and disbelief. They had faced species before, conquered worlds before, but never anything like these humans. The thought alone seemed to unsettle them, a realization that the coming days would challenge every assumption they had held about power and dominance. And so the night stretched on, silent except for the soft hum of the ship and the whisper of the alien wind through the trees. Two worlds, two species, each observing the other, each preparing for the encounter that would change everything. The humans were cautious but determined, the princes proud but increasingly unsettled. In the balance between curiosity and pride, the story of their meeting had begun, and neither side would ever be the same again. The morning sunlight streamed over the alien city, bathing the shimmering buildings in golden light. The scout ship, resting quietly at the forest's edge, reflected the colors back like a mirror. Inside, Captain Ryan Holt and his team were already awake, reviewing the data from their first day. Their mission had begun cautiously, and the humans had learned quickly that this world was unlike any other. Every plant, every structure, every creature seemed designed with precision and purpose. But the most important discovery had been the alien princes themselves, their intelligence, their pride, and their subtle awareness of everything happening around them. Ryan stood near the viewport, watching the princes move gracefully through the courtyard. They were engaged in what looked like a formal ritual, but the humans could sense the underlying tension. The prince's gestures were deliberate, synchronized, almost like a dance. Yet their eyes kept flicking toward the forest where the humans had landed. Ryan turned to his team. "They're watching us," he said calmly, "and I think they're planning how to challenge us, but not with weapons yet. Their pride won't allow that." Leela, the engineer, nodded. "It's like they're testing us, seeing if we belong here without even touching us." She glanced at her small recorder, which hummed softly with information collected from the previous day. "And so far, we're passing." The humans decided to explore further into the forest, moving slowly and deliberately. They wanted to understand the planet better, but they also wanted to show that they meant no harm. The ground beneath their boots was soft, mossy, and alive with tiny movements. Strange flowers opened as they passed, releasing scents that were sweet and calming. Birds, or something like birds, flitted overhead, their calls melodic and harmonized, almost like a song. Every step seemed like a careful conversation with the planet itself. As the team moved deeper, a small group of the alien princes appeared silently, as if they had materialized from the shadows. Ryan froze, motioning for his team to stand still. The prince's golden eyes observed them closely, noting every movement. One prince, slightly taller than the others, stepped forward. His gaze was steady, not hostile, but challenging. "You walk among us," the prince said, his voice musical but firm, "without permission yet without destruction. Why do you not harm what you do not understand?" Ryan kept his voice calm. "We harm nothing. We only observe and learn. We hope to understand your world, to share knowledge, and perhaps find friendship where there was none before." The prince's gaze shifted to Leela, who held a small holographic device displaying data about the planet. He tilted his head, curious. "You are clever," he said. "You do not rely on force, yet you accomplish much. You surprise me." Encouraged by this, Ryan gestured toward a stream nearby. "We would like to study the environment and the creatures with your permission. We do not intend to interfere, only to watch and record." The prince considered this for a moment. Then with a small nod, he gestured toward the humans. "You may proceed, but remember, this world does not forgive recklessness. Every step must be measured." The humans moved cautiously toward the stream, recording samples and observing the wildlife. Small amphibious creatures leaped from rock to rock, their skins glowing faintly in patterns that shifted like light across water. Ryan knelt by the edge, scooping a sample into a container. As he worked, he noticed one of the younger princes observing him closely. She stepped forward, and instead of interfering, she mimicked his careful movements as though learning from him. It was a small gesture, but it meant a great deal. The humans were beginning to build trust, not through force, but through patience and respect. They realized that these alien princes were proud, yes, but also intelligent and capable of change. Every interaction was a negotiation, a test of understanding, and humanity's scouts were proving themselves in subtle ways. But the calm did not last. As the humans explored a meadow filled with strange, glowing flowers, the ground beneath them trembled slightly. From the trees, the princes moved with silent speed, surrounding the humans in a precise formation. Ryan's heart beat faster, but he knew that this was not an attack. It was a challenge, a test of intelligence and composure rather than strength. One of the princes stepped forward, holding a crystal-like device that emitted light patterns in rhythmic sequences. The humans watched carefully as the patterns changed, forming a puzzle of colors and shapes. Ryan recognized it as a form of communication, perhaps even a challenge of logic. He glanced at his team, signaling them to remain calm and observe. Leela stepped forward, studying the device carefully. She manipulated a small holographic tool, projecting her own patterns in response. The aliens watched intently, their eyes narrowing as they assessed her solution. For a moment, the light patterns danced between human and alien, a silent conversation of understanding. Finally, the taller prince gave a slow nod and the tension in the air eased. Ryan breathed quietly. "They're testing our minds," he said, "not our strength." The humans continued their exploration, now with a new sense of purpose. They realized that every step, every gesture, and every decision could teach the aliens something about humanity. And humanity, in turn, was learning about the complexity of the alien society, their hierarchy, and their unspoken rules. Later, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the alien city, the humans returned to their ship. They reviewed the day's data, noting not only the natural wonders of the planet but also the subtle patterns of alien behavior. The princes had not attacked, had not shown aggression, but their pride and curiosity were palpable. Ryan gathered his team. "Today we learned something important," he said. "Strength is not always about power. Here it is about intelligence, patience, and understanding. If we can navigate their tests without causing harm, we can gain trust, and trust is far more valuable than victory in battle." The team nodded, inspired by the day's experiences. They realized that this was only the beginning. The alien princes were intelligent, yes, but they were also predictable in subtle ways. Their pride made them hesitant to admit mistakes, and their rituals often followed patterns that humans could study and understand. It was a challenge, yes, but one that humanity was uniquely equipped to face. As night fell, Ryan and his team gathered in the observation deck, looking out over the glowing city below. The alien princes were visible in the courtyard, moving in their rhythmic, purposeful ways. Ryan smiled faintly. "They think they are in control," he said. "But every step we take teaches them something new about us. Every step brings us closer to understanding, and that is a power they cannot match." The youngest prince, the one who had observed Leela, stood slightly apart from the others. She gazed toward the forest, her expression thoughtful. There was curiosity there and perhaps even a hint of admiration. Ryan noticed the subtle change. The human's presence was no longer a mere intrusion. It was a question, a challenge, and perhaps the beginning of a relationship neither species had expected. That night, the humans reviewed the patterns of the prince's movements, noting how each action seemed calculated to observe and test them. They began to anticipate the aliens' next moves, learning to respond with intelligence and patience rather than reactionary force. Every encounter became a game of wits, a dance between two intelligent species, each seeking understanding in its own way. The next morning, the humans decided to attempt a new approach. Instead of moving as a group, they split into smaller teams, exploring different regions of the forest. One team studied the rivers and lakes, another examined the plant life, and a third carefully approached the outskirts of the alien city. Everywhere they went, they were observed by the princes, yet no interference came. Ryan led the team near a ridge overlooking a valley filled with alien gardens. He gestured toward the intricate patterns, showing the team how the plants were arranged in mathematical harmony. "They see patterns in everything," he said, "and so do we. That is our advantage. If we can learn their logic, we can navigate this world without breaking it, without fighting, without causing harm." The younger prince appeared again, her golden eyes following their movements. She watched as the humans carefully mapped the gardens, taking notes, recording observations, and interacting with the environment respectfully. Something shifted in her expression, a recognition of intelligence, a spark of understanding that perhaps these humans were not to be underestimated. By midday, the humans regrouped near the ship, sharing discoveries and noting the subtle changes in the prince's behavior. There was less tension, more curiosity, and even a trace of admiration. The prince's pride had not diminished, but it had been challenged in a way that forced them to reconsider their assumptions. Humanity was proving that strength came in forms they had not anticipated: thoughtfulness, adaptability, and collaboration. As they prepared to rest for the evening, Ryan reflected on the day. They had survived another test, another challenge, and in doing so, they had begun to reshape the alien prince's perception of humanity. The scouts had not used weapons or force. They had used intelligence, respect, and careful observation. And in a world where power was often measured by domination, the humans had demonstrated that there was a different kind of strength, one that could win without harm. Outside, the princes gathered once more, their movements deliberate, their eyes focused on the forest. There was a quiet conversation in their gestures, a silent acknowledgement that these humans were remarkable. Pride clashed with respect, curiosity mixed with caution, and a subtle realization began to take root. The humans were not here to conquer. They were here to understand, and in doing so, they had already begun to change the rules of engagement. The night stretched on, filled with the soft hum of alien lights and the gentle rustle of forest life. Humanity's scouts rested, confident yet alert, knowing that each day brought new challenges and new lessons. And the alien princes, once certain of their supremacy, faced a truth that unsettled them. The humans were clever, adaptable, and unwavering in their calm determination. They were unlike any species the princes had ever encountered. In that quiet night, two worlds remained close but separate, observing each other, learning from each other, and preparing for what would come next. The dance of intelligence, pride, and understanding had begun, and neither side could predict where it would lead. But the first moves had already been made, and humanity had shown that they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the alien trees, casting long, delicate shadows over the forest floor. The humans prepared their equipment carefully, aware that today would test not only their patience but also their intelligence. Captain Ryan Holt gathered the team near the edge of a crystalline river that sparkled with colors they could not name. The air was cooler here, carrying the sweet aroma of flowering plants, and the quiet was broken only by the distant hum of the alien city and the occasional call of creatures hidden in the foliage. "Today we learn more about them than ever before," Ryan said. His eyes scanned the river, then the forest beyond. "They will try to challenge us, test our patience and our problem-solving. Remember, our strength is observation, understanding, and intelligence. If we remain calm, they cannot defeat us." The team nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. They had already seen glimpses of the prince's intelligence and pride, but today they would encounter something deeper, a test of strategy, logic, and courage. As they moved along the riverbank, subtle ripples in the water caught their attention. Tiny creatures surfaced, their translucent bodies glowing faintly as they moved in coordinated patterns. Ryan knelt to observe, taking care not to disturb them. It was clear that even the smallest life on this planet was part of a complex system, interconnected and purposeful. Leela crouched beside him, projecting a holographic map that recorded every motion. Suddenly, from the trees above, the princes appeared. Their arrival was silent and graceful, their presence commanding attention without the need for sound. They formed a semicircle, each one holding a device that glimmered with shifting light. The humans recognized this pattern. The princes were preparing a challenge. One of the princes stepped forward, her golden eyes fixed on Ryan. "You have observed much," she said. "Yet understanding is not knowledge. You know what you see, but do you know why it exists?" Ryan nodded slowly. "We may not know everything, but we can learn. And if you guide us, we will try to understand." The princess's gaze softened slightly, though a hint of amusement lingered. She activated her device, and a series of floating, luminous shapes appeared in the air above the river. They twisted and shifted, forming patterns that were both beautiful and complex. Ryan recognized this as a test, a puzzle of logic and spatial awareness, designed to challenge the humans without harm. Leela stepped forward, her fingers hovering over her own holographic interface. She projected counterpatterns carefully, mirroring the aliens' movements while subtly adjusting for symmetry and balance. The princess observed intently, her expression unreadable. Around her, the other princes shifted slightly, watching the exchange like a silent audience. Minutes passed, each one stretching longer than the last. The humans focused, adjusting their projections, learning from the patterns, and anticipating the changes the aliens introduced. Ryan watched closely, noting the subtle reactions of the princes. Small flickers of surprise crossed their faces, almost imperceptible, but they were there. The humans were solving the puzzle not by force, but by careful observation and reasoning. Finally, with a gentle ripple of light, the shapes aligned perfectly, responding to the humans' adjustments. The princess stepped back, her golden eyes wide with what could only be described as astonishment. "You adapt quickly," she said. "Your minds are different." "Clever, but unlike anything I have seen before," Ryan smiled faintly. "Adaptability is our strength. We learn from everything, including you." The princess nodded, and the semicircle of princes dispersed slightly, allowing the humans to continue their exploration deeper into the forest. The air seemed lighter now, less tense, as if the princes themselves were curious rather than cautious. The humans moved toward a meadow where strange, towering plants grew in spirals, their colors shifting with the sunlight. Ryan knelt beside one, studying its structure. "They are perfectly balanced," he said. "Every part serves a purpose, yet it all works together as a whole." "Like them, perhaps," Leela laughed softly. "You mean the princes?" Ryan chuckled. "Exactly. Complex, interconnected, precise, but adaptable if you understand them." As they explored, the younger princess who had observed Leela before appeared again. She hovered near the humans, silently watching their actions. This time she reached out, lightly touching a small device that projected holographic maps of the meadow. Leela smiled and mirrored the gestures, showing her how to adjust the projection to better reflect the patterns in the plants. The interaction was subtle, almost like a conversation without words, but it spoke volumes. Trust was growing, small but meaningful. Hours passed, and the humans documented every observation carefully. Then, from the edge of the forest, another group of princes appeared, holding a series of floating spheres that emitted soft light. They positioned the spheres in a pattern across the meadow, and a gentle hum filled the air. Ryan realized this was another challenge, not of strength, but of cooperation and reasoning. The spheres moved in coordinated sequences, changing positions according to an unknown logic. The humans studied them carefully, mapping the movements and testing their own adjustments. It became a game of timing, observation, and strategy. Every adjustment the humans made prompted a subtle change in the spheres, patterns, and every change was observed by the princes. Minutes turned into hours as the humans worked together, learning, adjusting, and responding. The princes moved quietly among them, silent judges and curious observers. Gradually, the humans began to anticipate the spheres' movements, their teamwork allowing them to match the rhythm of the patterns. Finally, with a soft glow and a gentle hum, the spheres aligned perfectly, their light forming a bridge of color across the meadow. The princes stepped back, their expressions filled with astonishment and a hint of admiration. Ryan watched, feeling a quiet sense of triumph. They had succeeded, not through force or aggression, but through intelligence, patience, and collaboration. One of the princes, slightly older and taller than the others, stepped forward. "You are remarkable," he said. "Not strong in the ways we expected, but strong in ways we did not imagine. You have learned quickly, adapted swiftly, and shown patience that even we struggle to maintain." Ryan nodded. "We believe in understanding first. Strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the greatest strength is the ability to learn and adapt without harming." The prince's expressions softened further, though pride still lingered. They moved aside, allowing the humans to continue exploring freely. For the first time, the humans felt that they were not merely observed, they were respected. The subtle shift in the prince's demeanor was almost imperceptible, but it was there, a quiet acknowledgement of humanity's unique qualities. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the meadow, the humans returned to their ship to review their findings. Every interaction, every puzzle, every subtle gesture from the princes had been carefully documented. The team realized that they were not just surviving, they were learning, adapting, and slowly earning the respect of a species that had once seemed unbeatable. That evening, Ryan gathered the team near the observation deck, looking out at the alien city glowing softly in the twilight. "Today, we saw that intelligence and cooperation can overcome even the most intimidating challenges," he said. "We didn't fight, we didn't force. And yet we succeeded. This is the kind of strength that defines humanity," Leela nodded. "They are proud, yes, but they are starting to see us differently. We are not intruders. We are learners, explorers, and thinkers, and they are noticing." Ryan smiled. "Exactly. And this is only the beginning. The more we understand them, the more we can show that cooperation and intelligence can solve problems that pride and force cannot." That night, the alien princes gathered in their courtyard, speaking in their melodic, harmonious tones. Their movements were deliberate, thoughtful, and measured. The older princes spoke with the younger ones, their gestures conveying subtle emotions, surprise, respect, and a hint of unease. Humanity had done what they did not expect. They had bested the challenges without harm, without aggression, and without breaking any rules. The younger princess, the one who had interacted with Leela, stood slightly apart, her golden eyes reflecting the soft glow of the buildings. She looked toward the forest, her expression thoughtful. For the first time, she considered that perhaps humanity was a species to be understood, not conquered. Their intelligence, their patience, and their ability to adapt without destruction were qualities unfamiliar to her people, and yet, qualities that demanded attention. As the humans rested, the forest around the city seemed almost alive with quiet energy. The streams shimmered faintly, the plants glowed softly, and the creatures moved in harmonious patterns. Ryan understood that every action of the humans, every careful observation had begun to change the perception of the alien princes. Trust was growing, slowly and subtly, in ways that could not be measured by weapons or force. And as the night deepened, a sense of calm determination settled over the humans. They were explorers, yes, but also ambassadors of intelligence, patience, and cooperation. They knew that the days ahead would bring new tests and new challenges. Yet, for the first time, they felt a quiet confidence. They were not here to fight. They were here to learn, adapt, and show a new form of strength that even the proud alien princes could not ignore. In the quiet night, two worlds observed each other, learning, adapting, and preparing for what was to come. Humanity had made its first true impression, not with weapons, but with intelligence, respect, and patience. And the alien princes, once confident in their superiority, were beginning to realize that the humans were not just visitors. They were a force that could change the balance of understanding itself. The following morning, sunlight poured over the alien city, painting the glowing buildings with warm, golden streaks. Captain Ryan Holt stood near the edge of the forest, scanning the horizon. The human scouts had learned much about this planet, about its creatures, its landscapes, and most importantly, its rulers, the alien princes. Each encounter had been a lesson, a puzzle of intelligence, patience, and observation. Today, Ryan knew the stakes would rise. The princes would challenge them in ways that demanded even more cleverness. Today is the day we show them that understanding is stronger than pride, Ryan said, turning to his team. His voice was calm, confident, yet filled with determination. We've adapted, observed, and learned from them. Now we use that knowledge to navigate challenges they may not expect. Remember, we do this without force, without harm. Our advantage is our mind, our strategy, and our cooperation. The team nodded. They felt a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation. Each day brought new surprises, new puzzles, and new opportunities to demonstrate humanity's unique qualities. As they moved through the forest, the princes appeared again, their arrival as silent and graceful as always. But today, something was different. Their eyes, golden and sharp, seemed harder, more calculating. They carried small devices that shimmered with moving light, devices that had never been seen before by the humans. The princes had been watching, observing patterns, and today they intended to test the humans more deeply. The tallest prince stepped forward, his voice musical yet firm. You have learned quickly, adapted, and survived without harm. But today, we challenge you in ways that require more than observation. You must understand, anticipate, and cooperate in ways your kind has rarely been asked. Ryan studied the devices in the prince's hands. Each one projected floating patterns of light above the clearing, twisting and shifting in complex formations. The patterns were larger, faster, and more intricate than any challenge before. He understood immediately that this was not just a test of intelligence, it was a test of teamwork, strategy, and foresight. The humans spread out, carefully observing the moving shapes. Leela projected their own holographic interface to match the patterns, while another scout recorded the sequence of changes. The task was delicate. One wrong adjustment, one miscalculation, and the alignment would fail. The princes watched closely, their movements subtle yet purposeful. Every tilt of the head, every shift of the body was a silent signal, a way of communicating without words. Ryan noticed that they were trying to influence the humans, guiding them without directly interfering. It was a test not only of intelligence, but of perception and patience. Minutes stretched into hours as the humans adjusted, mirrored, and corrected the floating patterns. Each change prompted a subtle shift in the light formations, and the humans had to anticipate every movement, every variation before it happened. The challenge was exhausting, but it was also exhilarating. They could feel the prince's attention, the weight of their pride and curiosity pressing down, urging them to fail or succeed. Leela glanced at Ryan. "They're watching for more than mistakes," she whispered. "They're looking to see if we think ahead, if we can predict patterns instead of just reacting." Ryan nodded. "Exactly. They value foresight. That is why we must remain calm and deliberate. Observation alone is not enough. We must understand the logic behind their patterns." As the humans worked, the younger princess approached Leela. Her golden eyes studied the holographic interface carefully, mimicking some gestures, yet subtly changing others. Leela smiled faintly, adjusting the projection to accommodate the alien's unexpected input. The interaction was silent but meaningful. Cooperation had begun not just among humans, but between species, a small but significant shift in understanding. By midday, the humans had aligned most of the patterns, but a few sequences remained unsettled. The floating lights twisted unpredictably, challenging the team to anticipate changes in real time. Ryan felt the tension in the air, yet he remained calm. "Watch for repetition," he said. "The patterns follow logic even if it's subtle. Observe the cycles, anticipate the moves, and respond as one unit." Slowly, carefully, the humans worked together, predicting shifts before they happened and correcting sequences before they faltered. Every member of the team contributed, adjusting the holographic interface, observing the light formations, and communicating silently with gestures and glances. The princes watched, their expressions a mixture of astonishment, pride, and disbelief. Finally, after long hours of patient calculation, the floating patterns stabilized. The lights aligned perfectly, forming intricate bridges and arches that reflected the harmony of the forest itself. The princes stepped back, their golden eyes wide with amazement. One of them, the tallest, spoke slowly, his tone filled with respect. "You have achieved what many before you could not. You think not with strength, but with understanding, foresight, and unity. Your kind is remarkable." Ryan allowed himself a quiet smile. "We believe that intelligence and cooperation are stronger than pride and force. We hope this proves that strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the greatest strength is the ability to learn, adapt, and work together." The princes remained silent for a moment, then moved aside, creating space for the humans to explore the meadow and the surrounding forest freely. The subtle shift in their demeanor was unmistakable. Pride had not vanished, but it had been tempered by respect and curiosity. Humanity's scouts had won, not by battle, but by proving their unique strength. As the humans explored further, they discovered patterns in the alien city's gardens, architecture, and technology that mirrored the challenges they had faced. Every structure, every plant, and every ritual seemed to follow logic, symmetry, and harmony. Ryan realized that understanding these patterns was the key to navigating the prince's world without confrontation. The humans had already begun to internalize this logic, giving them an edge the princes had not anticipated. The younger princess stayed near Leela, observing her careful notes and projections. She seemed fascinated by the humans' ability to cooperate seamlessly, to adjust instantly to new challenges, and to respect the world around them. For the first time, she considered that humanity might be a species worth learning from, not an intruder to be tested or feared. Hours passed, and the humans continued their careful exploration, documenting everything and adjusting their strategy in real time. The princes observed, occasionally introducing subtle variations to see how the humans would respond. Every time a change occurred, the humans anticipated it, responded intelligently, and adapted without hesitation. The prince's expressions shifted from curiosity to astonishment, and then to a grudging respect. By evening, the humans returned to the ship, reviewing the day's data. Every challenge they faced had been overcome through intelligence, observation, and collaboration. They had outsmarted the princes not by force, but by understanding the logic behind the patterns and working together flawlessly. Ryan gathered the team on the observation deck, looking out at the alien city glowing softly in the twilight. "Today proves something important," he said. "We've shown that understanding, cooperation, and intelligence can achieve what pride and force cannot. We have not fought, we have not destroyed, yet we have succeeded beyond what they expected." Leela nodded. "They are learning from us as much as we are learning from them. Every time we solve a challenge, we teach them something new not by words, but by action and thought." Ryan smiled faintly. "Exactly. Humanity's strength is in intelligence, patience, and adaptability. That is what makes us remarkable, and that is what they are beginning to see." As night fell, the alien princes gathered once more in their courtyard. Their movements were deliberate, their gestures full of thought and communication. They had faced a species that challenged their assumptions without using force. Pride and respect mingled in their expressions, and a subtle shift occurred. The humans were no longer seen as mere visitors. They were formidable in ways the princes had never considered. The younger princess, still observing Leela from afar, seemed thoughtful. Her golden eyes reflected the glowing lights of the city, her expression serious yet curious. She had witnessed humans thinking, learning, and cooperating without aggression, and it unsettled her pride while inspiring her fascination. For the first time, she wondered if her people could learn from this species instead of testing or resisting them. Meanwhile, the humans rested, reviewing the lessons of the day. They had not only solved the prince's challenges, but had also begun to understand the deeper logic of this world. The patterns in nature, in architecture, and in behavior all revealed a consistent principle. Observation, patience, and cooperation created harmony, and intelligence without force could surpass pride and strength. Ryan looked out over the glowing alien city, feeling a quiet sense of achievement. The scouts had done more than survive. They had earned respect without causing harm, challenged assumptions without conflict, and demonstrated that humanity's true power lay in its mind and heart. As the night deepened, the forest and the city seemed to hum with quiet energy. The humans rested, confident yet alert, knowing that the challenges ahead would grow even more complex. But for the first time, they felt a deep sense of certainty. Their intelligence, cooperation, and patience were a force that could overcome even the proudest of adversaries. Two worlds, separate yet connected, rested under the alien stars. Humanity had proven that strength could come without conflict, that intelligence could triumph where pride faltered, and that even the most confident rulers could learn humility. And in the quiet night, the seeds of understanding, respect, and cooperation were sown, setting the stage for the final challenges and the ultimate realization of humanity's remarkable abilities. The morning sun broke over the alien city like molten gold, illuminating buildings that shimmered and danced with gentle light. Captain Ryan Holt stood at the edge of the forest, surveying the city below. Over the past days, humanity's scouts had explored, observed, and faced challenges unlike any in their training. The alien princes, once proud and certain of their superiority, had grown increasingly cautious, curious, and even in small ways, respectful. Today, Ryan knew, would be the turning point. The humans moved as a team through the forest, their steps careful and deliberate. Every movement was calculated, every action a reflection of the lessons they had learned. They had come to understand the logic of the planet, the patterns in its life, and the principles guiding the alien princes. Their strength was no longer a simple presence. It was thought, patience, and collaboration. From the shadows of the alien trees, the princes appeared. Their golden eyes, sharp and bright, regarded the humans with a mixture of anticipation and uncertainty. They carried devices that glimmered with complex light patterns, more intricate than any before. This time it was clear. The final challenge awaited. The tallest prince stepped forward, his voice calm yet commanding. "You have learned, adapted, and shown patience. You have observed our world, our logic, and our patterns. Yet now we present a test that will measure the unity, insight, and foresight of your kind. Only by understanding the whole, not just parts, can you succeed." Ryan nodded. "We are ready," he said, his voice steady. "We have learned that understanding is more powerful than pride and cooperation stronger than force. We will face this test as a team, and we will succeed without harm." The princes activated their devices, projecting a massive display of floating shapes above the clearing. The shapes twisted, merged, and split into patterns so intricate that they seemed almost alive. Streams of light connected them, forming bridges and spirals, and the humans realized that the task was to synchronize, predict, and align every movement in harmony with the planet's own logic. Leela stepped forward, projecting their holographic interface to mirror the shapes in real time. The rest of the team spread out, each scout focusing on a section of the formation. They observed, predicted, and adjusted as the patterns shifted. Every adjustment required teamwork, timing, and careful analysis. Even a minor misstep could disrupt the delicate balance. The younger princess, who had observed Leela closely throughout their stay, hovered near the interface. She watched intently as the humans coordinated flawlessly, making adjustments that even she had not anticipated. For the first time, she seemed genuinely impressed, her golden eyes wide with admiration. Minutes stretched into hours, each one a test of focus and strategy. The humans communicated silently, gestures and glances replacing words, each movement synchronized perfectly. The princes observed silently, their expressions changing from curiosity to astonishment, and finally to respect. As the humans worked, they noticed patterns in the aliens, arrangement that hinted at subtle logic beyond what they had seen before. Ryan realized that the final test was not simply about alignment. It was about insight, understanding the reasoning behind every placement, every connection, every sequence. The team adjusted, anticipating shifts and reasoning ahead of time. Slowly, gradually, the floating shapes responded. Bridges of light aligned, spirals harmonized, and the formation began to pulse with a steady rhythm. The aliens' devices glimmered in recognition, their intricate patterns finally reflecting the humans' careful strategy. A hush fell over the clearing as the last sequences locked into place. The princes stepped back, their expressions filled with awe. The tallest prince spoke, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of pride. "You have done what none before you have achieved. You have understood, adapted, and harmonized without destruction, without force. Your kind has shown a strength we did not believe possible." Ryan smiled faintly, feeling the quiet satisfaction of accomplishment. "Strength comes in many forms," he said. "Sometimes the greatest power is the ability to think, adapt, and cooperate. We hope this demonstrates that understanding can overcome pride, and patience can overcome fear." The younger princess stepped closer to Leela, her golden eyes reflecting the gentle light of the formation. She hesitated, then touched the holographic interface lightly, mimicking the gestures of the human engineer. Leela smiled and mirrored her movements, a silent conversation passing between them. Respect, understanding, and curiosity flowed in that small interaction, bridging the gap between two very different worlds. The other princes gathered around, observing the humans' methods. Their expressions softened, pride mingling with admiration. What they had assumed would be a simple test of skill and intellect had become a lesson in humility. Humanity's scouts had not used force, and yet they had triumphed in a way the aliens could not have predicted. Ryan gestured toward the city, inviting the princes to walk with them. Slowly, hesitantly, the alien rulers followed. The humans led them through the meadows, past the glowing streams, and into the forests where patterns in nature reflected the same logic as the devices and structures in the city. The aliens watched closely, their pride tempered by the realization that humans had a unique gift, the ability to adapt, understand, and harmonize without domination. As they walked, Ryan spoke softly. "Your world is remarkable. The patterns, the structures, the life, it all shows wisdom, logic, and balance. We did not come to conquer, but to understand. And in learning, we have discovered strength that lies in patience, insight, and collaboration." The tallest prince regarded him carefully, his expression thoughtful. "Your kind is unlike any we have met. You move without prideful haste, think without arrogance, and achieve without harm. We assumed strength was shown through power and control. You have taught us otherwise." The younger princess glanced at Leela, a small smile touching her lips. "We have watched you for days," she said, her voice melodic. "And now we understand that strength can be quiet, patient, and thoughtful. You have not broken us, and yet you have bested our expectations." Ryan nodded. "We hope this is the start of understanding between our worlds. Strength can exist without harm, respect can exist without fear, and knowledge can bridge the gap between even the most different species." The alien princes paused. Then slowly, deliberately, they gestured for the humans to lead them further into the forest. Here, patterns in the trees, streams, and plants mirrored the challenges they had faced, reinforcing the lesson. The world itself operated on logic, balance, and cooperation. The humans' success was not only in their intelligence, but also in their respect for that system. As the sun dipped low, casting long golden shadows, the humans led the princes back to the city's central courtyard. The glowing structures reflected softly in the princes' eyes, and for the first time, the alien rulers seemed to regard humanity not with suspicion, but with admiration. Their pride remained, yes, but it was tempered by a new understanding. Humans were clever, patient, adaptable, and respectful, qualities that could not be ignored. Ryan addressed the princes with quiet authority. "We came as observers. We have learned, adapted, and respected your world. We hope that in turn you see humanity not as intruders, but as friends who bring knowledge, curiosity, and cooperation." The tallest prince nodded slowly. "We see it now," he said. "Your actions have spoken louder than words. Your kind has demonstrated a strength we had not anticipated, a strength that comes not from domination, but from understanding and harmony." The younger princess smiled at Leela once more. "You have bested our challenges, not by fighting, but by thinking, learning, and working together. We are humbled and astonished." The humans and alien princes remained in the courtyard for a long while, observing the city, the forest, and the harmonious patterns in nature. It was a moment of quiet understanding, a recognition of intellect, patience, and the power of collaboration. For the first time, the humans felt that they were not merely visitors, they were respected, even admired. As night fell, the city glowed softly, the light reflecting in the streams, buildings, and the golden eyes of the princes. Ryan looked at his team, pride and quiet satisfaction in his expression. "This is what we came to show," he said softly. "Strength can exist without conflict, intelligence can triumph without harm, and respect can create bonds stronger than fear or pride." The younger princess stepped closer, her golden eyes reflecting the humans' expressions. "We have learned much from you," she said. "Perhaps in time our people can also learn to value intelligence, patience, and collaboration as you do." Ryan nodded. "We hope so, and in learning together we can create something stronger than either of our worlds could achieve alone." The alien princes finally returned to their halls, their pride intact but now balanced with respect. They had faced a species that challenged them, not with weapons or force, but with intelligence, patience, and collaboration, and they had been astonished by the result. Humanity had proven that strength could exist in thought, understanding, and harmony. Inside the scout ship, the humans reviewed their journey. Every puzzle, every interaction, and every subtle observation had led to this moment. They had faced challenges not with aggression, but with cooperation and ingenuity. They had earned respect and admiration without a single act of violence. Humanity's reputation, even among an alien species, had been established. As the ship prepared to depart, the youngest princess approached the humans once more. "Do not think that what you have done will be forgotten," she said. "Your intelligence, your patience, and your cooperation will shape our world. You have shown us a path we had not seen before, and for that, we are grateful." Ryan smiled. "We hope that this is the beginning of friendship and understanding between our worlds. We leave not as conquerors, but as allies, observers, and learners." The humans lifted off, the scout ship rising into the violet sky. Below them, the alien city glowed softly, the princes watching silently, their pride tempered by respect and admiration. Humanity had arrived, not with violence or destruction, but with intelligence, courage, and patience. They had faced a world proud and unyielding, and they had triumphed through understanding. And as the stars stretched endlessly beyond the horizon, Ryan felt a quiet sense of accomplishment. Humanity had won not through force, but through the power of thought, cooperation, and respect. The alien princes had learned a lesson they would not forget, and humanity's place in the galaxy had been quietly but firmly established. In the soft glow of alien lights and the silent hum of the forest, two worlds had connected, not through conflict, but through intelligence, patience, and the enduring strength of understanding. Humanity had triumphed, and in doing so they had proven that the greatest victories are often won without a single blow, a single weapon, or a single act of harm. They had shown that to think, to adapt, and to cooperate is the truest form of strength.